Okay, in this video we are going to learn about promises which are meant to be broken. Well, not exactly. We're going to learn about promise. Now first of all, let's try to understand what is a promise in English. To say definitely that you will do or not do something, or that something will happen. A bit confusing definition if I talk about, so I'll just close it. The simple meaning is either it will happen or not. So like, let's say if I say I promise you that the video for this promise series will continue, so that is my promise. It will either happen or not. Now the question is, why do I need it? I trust this person that he will complete his work. The thing is, we are living in a very dynamic world and a lot of things changes on the fly. So let's say if something is working for someone, something might not work for someone else. I'll give you a very simple example. Let's say you want to watch a cricket match. Okay, so your stadium has given you a promise that, let's say if it won't rain, we will let you watch the match. So obviously pay us the fees for the watching the match. If it rains, we are going to refund you the 50% of the match fees, because that is our promise, because if it is going to rain. Now the thing is, nobody knows what will happen, so everyone is gambling. Technically that's a wrong statement if I may, that everyone is gambling, but this is the scenario. So let's say if you want to watch a match, so there is a scenario, want to watch the match but cannot risk rain. So what is the what's the stadium offering you? That if buy the ticket and watch the match. So obviously you'll say, okay, what will happen if it rains? So he'll say we will refund 75% of the match fees, ticket price, if it rains. Now the problem is, nobody knows what will happen. It may rain right now, it may rain tomorrow, it may rain midway, or maybe it may rain at the end of the match. Now there are so many permutations and combinations which are happening. Okay, there are so many permutations and combinations which are happening, and this is the problem here. Nobody knows what will happen, so we have to define something so that we can take action based on that. Now this is possible when we are working as a human being, but we have to make sure that this happens inside JavaScript as well. So this is where promises come. So let's try to understand how we are going to use it. So I'll say let promise, I'll use the word promise itself, equals to new promise. Now this promise is going to actually have two I would say parameters, if I may. It will have a resolve. Technically they are called as executor. You can see Visual Studio Code is helping me. So we will say resolve and reject, and this is going to have a function which is technically a callback function. Okay, so it has two executors, resolve and reject. What are these? They are technically, this is what is going to happen. So if it is not going to rain, obviously we have to pay the 100% match fees, or if it is going to rain, we are going to get a refund of 75%. So let's try to define this kind of a scenario. So I'll say let it is raining equals to math.random, and obviously I'll keep it as okay. So basically we are going to mimic a scenario where it will rain or it will not rain based on the various factors. Now obviously I cannot do that with the various APIs. So what I'm going to do, I have written a very simple function which is going to give me the value. So I'm saying math.floor math.random multiply by 2. So basically it is returning me either 0 or 1. So you can see it is 0 or 1. So I'm going to just paste this particular line here. So what will happen now, it is going to mimic the scenario that it is either raining or it is not raining. So let me actually show you that in real life. I'll say console.log is it raining, and I'll say it is raining. I'll save the file and you can see currently it is raining, currently it is not raining. So 0 means it's not raining, 1 means it is raining. So now what we will do, we will say if it is raining, I'll actually define it in a better way. I'll say if it is raining equals to 1. So I'll say resolve, you are eligible for 75% refund as it is raining. I can say else. Now obviously if it is not 1, that means it is 0. So I'll say reject, you are not eligible for refund as it is not raining. I'll save the file. Yes, I have saved the file. Now what we will do, I'll come here and say promise dot, then I'll define the data. Now this is I'll call it as a fat arrow function, and I'll say console dot log data. And if that is not going to be the case, I'm going to catch it and I'll say data console dot log data. Now obviously let's try to understand what is happening here. So I'll actually make it much better so that we can understand it through syntax. So basically what I said, promise, then that means if the promise is successful, I'm going to run into resolve. If it is not successful, I'll go for the rejection. So now what I did, I simply said let it is raining. Now obviously it is defining it is 1 or true. Sorry, it is 1 or 0. So now if I refresh it, now you can say you are not eligible for refund as it is not raining. So we are in the reject executor. I'll refresh here, so you can see you are eligible for 75% refund as it is raining. Now the question is, why do I need to do this? I can simply do that with the if else statement. Well, technically you can do that, but the problem is this is going to be something which is going to come from an API. Now I have not used any JavaScript, or I would say Ajax methods, or I would say Ajax concepts to explain this. What promises are, it is simply a way of mechanism to actually catch if the certain condition, or I would say if certain things are matching or not. An ideal example is if we are able to make the connection to the internet. So like let's say a lot of applications these days are dependent on the JavaScript. So let's say if we are not able to fetch the data from the server, we can simply say, hey, your internet connection is not available, or we can say, hey, this is not something which is working, we are unable to connect to the server. So this is where promises are used. Hopefully you are able to understand what is a promise. If you have any questions regarding that, obviously put them in the comment. And if you need the source code, this will be available in this particular link, which is there in the description of this video.